best advantage in life. So go on, live your life and dream big with Enterprise. Okay, now let me tell you a little bit about Nobel International Business School before we get into the stories today. The new normal of today can change as early as tomorrow. Some say change is constant, but at Nobel, they believe uncertainty is more constant than anything else. And that is why more executives are joining the Nobel experience, which is the best way to go to business school. You can get a doctorate degree program and be armed with a wealth of knowledge and experience that makes you treasured everywhere you go. NIBS programs are delivered with foreign partners, the Doctor of Business Administration program, the Doctor of Business Leadership program, and the PhD in Business Administration. Also, their graduate on time model guarantees extreme flexibility to enable you combine your studies with work and family demands. Combine your thesis with coursework to speed up thesis writing, attend classes every 2 months for only a few days, and receive dedicated research fellow and supervisor support throughout your study. All this to equip you with all you will ever need to discover, to lead, and to share. You want to know more? Call 0278 961 059, 0262 678 830, 0501 187 100. nibs.edu.gh is the website. Nibs, be treasured today, tomorrow, and always. Right, so shall we get to it with the headlines?
Yes.
Let's start with the Ghanaian Times. And could you know, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee sat yesterday, Wednesday, and we have some news coming from that. The Ghanaian Times captures this Park Direct CMC PPA to retrieve 312,784 Ghana cedis from defaulting staff, and Daily Guide Venture Capital NDC Gurus shared 14.7 million cedis.
Wow.
And still staying with the venture capital fund, the Daily Statement says NDC appointees refunding stolen cash, looters of 17.69. So there's a bit of a difference here. 17.69 million want to avoid jail, and comes to the photograph of the former CEO Daniel Duku, who is to refund over 15 million allegedly stolen funds from venture capital fund. And still on issues relating to finance, COVID-19 hikes debt service cost, government re-strategizes for rebound. That's according to Deputy Finance Minister Charles Edu Boahin.
And, because we're talking about finances, let me just chip this in from the front page of the Business Finder. Food prices to remain low. That's some good news, Kojo. And this is coming from Isoko. So,
yeah. Why do you mention my name? When
food prices, so it won't affect what you eat every day. I'm excited by that.
Okay, I'm excited.
I know why she mentioned your name. Anyway, let's get to some crime-related issues and issues in relation to chieftaincy, because the Chronicle for today says gangsters fire tear gas into chief's bedroom, and Nana jumps from 3-story. As a third story, but rescued by police. His 8-month-old baby also thrown through the window.
Is it that same chief?
Yes, that same chief.
Wow.
That's on the front page of the Chronicle. And still issues relating to chieftaincy. Wasafia Sichi's demand recognition of Odenuhu Krokoku as paramount chief.
The New Crusading Guide has that story, but it also has a story which is chieftaincy related. Ochihene speaks out on Dumfast land dispute. You remember sometime last week there was a clash between some residents of the area and 2 military men, and they ended up, really brutalizing the military men. The Ochihene has stepped in because at the center of this is land dispute, and there's someone who is claiming to be Mponyahene of Echibe Buakwa. He says he owns the land. The Ochihene says, he's not a chief. I don't know him to be a chief. So you can get details of that on page 3 of the New Crusading Guide. Also, Oga, kidnapping is our business, witness tells courts. Could you remember that story of the missing Takade girls?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we learned later that they're dead, they've been killed. You followed up on that story. Well, it's still in court, and this quote is from a father of one of the girls. He says that's what a kidnapper called to say, that if you don't send the ransom, we're going to have to deal with your daughter, because kidnapping is our business. So there's details of that in the Daily Guide. Really sad story there. There's a lot to it, and you will get a good read on page 3 of the Daily Guide.
Yes, the Daily Guide has really laid out the story in a lot of detail. Yes, continuing tragedy. Now, before we go on, I'm being signaled to make this announcement, if you will. We have to apologize to all of you who have been trying to listen online. Our online stream is experiencing some challenges. The tech team is all over it. They're certainly working to get it fixed. We have to apologize for any inconvenience this is causing. We know that so many of you access us online, especially those of you outside the country. So we can't apologize enough for this obstruction of your service. We are working hard, diligently, to get it reconnected. All right, let's get on.
All right, so let me continue. The Ghanaian Times: man kills wife, commits suicide. Pretty sad story. Do you have any crime-related story?
Not really. So let me get to some social stories. And government is promising to construct safe havens for alleged witches.
The Ghanaian Times, says government to clamp down on witch camps to stop inhumane treatment of persons accused of witchcraft. So from what we're just reading, my suspicion is that they want to clamp down on what already exists to set up one that is regulated by government.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how human rights activists will feel about the idea of government setting up a place and calling it a witch camp. The concept should be that there's no such thing as...
What did the paper say, Winston? Says government to create a safe haven, isn't it?
Yes, that's what it says. That the government to construct safe havens for witches, and I'll just get you details
witches?
of it.
Witches?
Alleged witches.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, for me, I feel as if the problem is more fundamental than a place to let people accused of witchcraft lay their
while
heads.
you deal with the culture, while you deal with the problem, how do you keep those people safe? Because after Madame Tente, last weekend, some 4 women were also,
attacked.
Almost lynched.
Yeah, one woman was cut with a cutlass several times.
Yeah, so it tells you that people are still, trying or are still bent on doing what they want to do because of culture and all this. I don't know what to call it, but it's just too weird for my thinking. In this age, in this day,
Yeah. So this is what the minister says, right? She says that we focused on closing down the witches' camps as the only solution. But when we got there, we realized that closing the camps are not easy. The only solution that we have is a law to prevent the lynching of alleged witches and look for ways to protect them, since the majority of them don't want to go back to their homes because of fear. And families have refused to accept them. And where the family even wants to accept them, the society says no. And the quote here says, what we are going to do is to give these wonderful elderly women a safe haven and renovate where they are. We're giving them a better life. And majority of them told us that they are not on the leave program, Cynthia Morrison said.
Talking about they not wanting to return home, one of the women who was abused or assaulted, that's the word, assaulted last weekend, was sheltering one person who was being accused. So, so if I want to protect someone in the community,
you become a target.
Exactly. So those who even know rights cannot do right.
So it's a nuanced problem, but I think there is a certain upside down attitude to it. The concept that they don't feel safe in society because society is filled with people bent on doing the wrong thing, bent on harming them. So we should be focusing on getting those wrong people out, rather than the innocent people who are being victimized. But unfortunately,
in that part of the country, they happen to be in the majority.
Exactly. But criminals being in the majority doesn't mean that they should be the ones who
You're
are.
Right.
So it's a nuanced problem, and at least this is a step, right? A step that is being attempted to make them safer while we try and figure out the bigger problem. But there is a bigger problem. And I don't want this to be something that is done by government and then they think the problem is solved and so they leave it at that.
Exactly, but just a bit of a concern also. So we know that saying someone is a witch is a spiritual thing. How do you prove that it becomes a problem? But I like the fact...
It's an illegal thing.
I like the fact that...
It's an illegal thing, spiritual or not.
I mean,
it's illegal.
Hold on 1 minute. I like the fact that there's a consideration of constructing safe havens for them. But also, we need to reorient people.
Yeah.
It's very important because these persons see these old women as witches, and in some instances, for fear of victimization or assault, they don't want to go back. So how about starting a new process of ensuring that these people don't, actually see them as witches in the first place to warrant them fleeing from their communities? Anyway, let's get into other stories. And the Business and Financial Times says, online education not inferior. Government should expedite public open university. That's Professor Goski Alabi. And still on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, renewables growth is an opportunity, not threat to ECG. And 75 police barriers between Tema and Paga pose major threat to trade. Shippers Authority fears for smooth implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
So there's a story, I almost missed it on the front page of the Daily Guide, could you guys, which, quote-unquote, tortured with chainsaw.
Oh, my goodness.
So it tells you clearly this is entrenched. And I also feel that it's because people are not educated, exposed enough to understand how old people behave. You know that usually when they get to that age, there's a lot of funny behaviors they exhibit.
Mental illness.
Exactly.
Sets in, dementia, and, all kinds of things, yeah.
Very funny
This is a reality for people over a certain age.
So you need to understand. When you understand them, then you will not tag spirituality. I think that because sometimes people don't understand certain things, they always want to attribute it to something spiritual. But when understanding comes, you realize that it wasn't as spiritual as you thought.
It's a fundamental flaw of people in our part of the world, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure it happens all around the world, but we see such a predominance of it here. This desire to attribute everything you don't understand to some deity, to just remove the need to ask questions, to remove the need to satisfy curiosity through, inquiring, and simply attribute everything to some god. Oh, we didn't have it. Our harvest was poor. The gods didn't smile on us. Oh, when I went hunting, I didn't catch any animal. Oh, the gods didn't favor me.
The water level in the dam is not rising. Some gods are sitting on it.
So it prevents us from asking the questions that will help us solve society's problems. So other people solve their society's problems, and we sit around waiting for the gods to smile on us. It's a pity. Anyway.
Well, this one on the Business Finder is an interesting one. Because NAFCO clamps down on cheating in food supplies to schools. So what we understand is that NAFCO has given schools some weighing scales so that when suppliers bring the food, they can weigh and be sure that they're getting the right thing.
That's a good one. Okay. Finally here, nice. MTN and NCA ruling. Communications Ministry welcomes the court's ruling. And back page, Etienne Quanta Hospital receives supplies from USA Africom. And Ghana Standards Authority hits market with the aflatoxin campaign.
Okay, shall we do the online review?
Sure.
Okay, it's brought to us by Zenith Bank, in your best interest, and Goyle, good energy. Goyle, of course, has made it so much easier to go cashless now with the GH Link card, so you can use it to pay for all lubricants and all fuel at any of Goyle's over 400 stations across the country. And it's brilliant because it will record every purchase automatically on your monthly bank statement so that you can track and manage your expenses. Listen, go cashless and protect yourself and stick to all the COVID-19 protocols in these times. Goyle, good energy. Goyle. Yenara Yenze. So it's the new normal now. Join Stanbic Bank and their team of experts at 10 a.m. on Thursday, September 3, that's today, for deeper insights into how SMEs can remain agile in these unusual times. Now, even as the COVID-19 pandemic exacts a bitter toll on the economy, it is catalyzing digital transformation across business models and channels, as well as touch points. So join the keynote speakers, Mr. Achi Hesse, CEO of GIPS, Deridine Dadze, CEO of Ghana Chamber of Technology, Estella Kofi-Osoa, West Africa Regional Manager for C Squared, and Patrick Quanson, Head of Digital Transformation at Stanbic Bank. Join them as they discuss all you need to know about survival in these times. Visit any of Stanbic's social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, to register for the webinar link, and you may also send through any questions you want addressed by the speakers. Thursday, September 3 is the date. Today, 10 a.m. is the time. Just dial in for more on how to get your business in tune to the new normal. Stanbic Bank, #ItCanBe. Right, myjoyonline.com has Neil Antivanderpoy, assault is an example of Ghana's eroding democracy. That's Colonel Festus Abuaji. He said that on the Super Morning Show. December 7 may be a violent day, also said by Colonel Festus Abuaji. PAC Chairman James Abeji charges Amidu and Shraj to speed up contracts for sale investigation. This is Manasseh's work that certainly caused a stir. Abri Girls withdraws from National Science and Maths Quiz 2020. They've been replaced with St. Rose's SHS.
Do we know why?
The story will have details on myjoyonline.com. I can't wait to go find out. Other online stories include this one from citynewsroom.com. No one will be left out in bailout for clients of defunct fund managers. SEC clarifies. Yep, we were expecting SEC on our show yesterday. The Sun.co.uk says bounce back Britain. House prices hit all-time high as post-lockdown boom sparks biggest monthly rise in 16 years. Also in the Daily Mail today, Lionel Messi is now 90% likely to stay at Barcelona after Josep Bartomeu pleaded with superstar's father Jorge to help persuade his son to do a U-turn in a 90-minute meeting last night.
I'm not convinced, but let's see how it goes.
You think he won't stay, eh?
Yeah.
Charlie.
He's been there for a very long time.
The loss to Barcelona if he leaves, eh?
Winston wants to say something, please.
He should stay there.
Why?
He should stay there.
Why?
Where does he want to go again?
Manchester City.
No, we don't need him in the Premier League.
Now
we don't want him to make things difficult for us.
Now we get it. I see. You the fear.
We don't want him in there. He should stay there.
United fan.
Oh, fantastic United.
Hey, team penalty.
Team pen.
Is it not part of the?
I hear that your latest signing is very good at.
He doesn't miss penalties.
This is now the strategy. This is now the strategy. So I hear they've gone to hire a new horticulturist to grow different grass in the penalty box.
This strategy, Manchester United.
Yeah. Anyway, look, later on the show, we're going to be talking about our campaign, the Joy Peace campaign, and the fact that we have a no tolerance policy for electoral violence. Now, one of the key events that was supposed to spark a revolution against electoral violence was Ayawaso West Wogon. So yesterday, we went out there to see if we can find out how that particular act of violence has affected the people of that community. We learnt a lot, including this. Hello, sir. What's your name?
Okay, my name is George.
Talk to me about that day. You were in your stall, I'm sure, or were you outside?
Okay, I'm here. What exactly the thing happened? And then I left. I closed the shop and then I left.
So what did you see?
Oh. Okay, for me, I see a lot of the incidents that they happened the last day. So I hear the gunshots, and then I see some of the people are running away just because of the gunshots. So this is what I see or I saw the last time.
All right. Now, this thing. Has anything like that ever happened in this community before that day?
No.
So how did you feel?
No. Okay. I was shocked because I haven't seen that thing before in my life. Even I haven't heard anything about it before. That's why. So I was shocked that day. Yeah, indeed. We'll tell you more about what we learned in Ayawaso West Wogon. Right now, though, it's time for the BBC News brought to you by Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.